A man stood at the edge of a brand new life. He had love. He had a man who made him sandwiches. He had a fake name, a quiet town, a country road, and enough cash hidden in his jacket to disappear forever. He chose to drive home and be beaten to death with pool cues. Not because he was caught, not because he was outed, not because the family found him. He chose it. He got in the car, turned south, and drove back toward New Jersey on his own. And the actual breaking point that sent one of the highest earning capos in television history racing toward his own murder was a single morning of swinging a hammer for an honest paycheck. This is the most disturbingly relatable scene The Sopranos ever wrote. And it's not really about Vito. Quick refresher because the context matters.
Fucking Vito, through sheer hard work, turned himself into my best earner.
Vito Spatafore was Tony Soprano's top earner. Not a soldier, not a hanger-on. The guy who actually moved the money. By season 6, he's a made captain, pulling in serious weight. Married, 2 kids, a house in the suburbs, the whole thing.
Vito was spotted in a fag bar in New York.
Then he gets outed at a gay bar in New York by a Lupertazzi family soldier who happens to be there collecting protection money. And in the world of the DeMeo crime family in 2006, that's a death sentence. Not a metaphorical one, a literal, certain, scheduled execution.
As soon as he saw me, took off like a bat on a hill.
So Vito does what any rational person facing a death squad would do. He runs. He pulls cash out of his house, gets in his car, and drives north until the car hits a downed tree branch and he ends up on foot in a tiny New Hampshire town called Dartford. Cute B&B, antique shops, maple syrup, the whitest place on earth. And there he meets Jim, short order cook, volunteer firefighter, owns a diner. The locals call him Johnny Cakes because he makes the best ones in the state.
Vincent, I love you.
And against every single odd, Vito and Jim fall for each other. Genuinely, the man is in love. He has the rarest thing a Sopranos character ever gets handed, a way out. And he throws it away over an honest day's work. Here's the scene we need to talk about.
You need some money. You work construction.
Jim, trying to help his new boyfriend build a life, hooks Vito up with a handyman job at a local farm. Day labor, honest work. Vito ran the family's entire construction racket back in Jersey, so on paper, this should be the easiest landing in the history of organized crime defectors. He shows up, he swings a hammer, and then we get something The Sopranos almost never does in 86 episodes of television, an internal monologue.
10:30. Gotta be. 11:30. Look at the angle of the sun.
We hear Vito's actual thoughts, not dialogue, not a confessional voiceover, the unfiltered inside of his head as he stares at the sun, then at his hands, then refuses to look at his watch because he's already figured out that looking at the watch is the worst thing you can do to yourself. He talks himself through it like a hostage. 11:30 has to be. Look at the angle of the sun. Maybe even 11:45. Don't look yet. Savor it. Treat yourself. When you eat your last bite of those sandwiches Jim made, this day is halfway over. Okay, look now. It's 9:55 in the morning. He hammered a few nails and convinced himself 3 hours had passed. He bargained with the sun. He invented a private religion of waiting. And the universe answered with the most brutal possible punchline. You've been here for an hour. The line he says next is the line that turned this scene into a meme, into a mood, into something millions of people quietly recognize in themselves every Monday morning. 2 words. Fuck me.
Fuck me!
That's the whole scene. There's no violence in it. No drugs, no money, no guma, no whacking, just a man and a clock. And it might be the most violent scene in the entire series. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Sopranos almost never lets us inside a character's head. In 86 episodes, you can count the internal monologues on one hand. Adriana's brief daydream of escape, packing her suitcase and driving alone out of New Jersey. And this. A fat captain on a farm in New Hampshire, doing math with the sun. So why does David Chase break the rule here? Why this scene? Why this character? Because the farm isn't really a farm. It's a confession booth. Vito is a man who, his entire adult life, has gotten paid enormous sums of money to do essentially nothing. To stand around, to make a phone call, to threaten a guy, to collect. The mob doesn't actually sell crime. The mob sells the elimination of ordinary time. Your day doesn't have a shape. Your week doesn't have a shape. You eat when you're hungry, you sleep when you're tired, and money shows up because someone, somewhere, owes you something. And then, One Tuesday, Vito stands on a farm and learns what an hour actually feels like when you have to fill it. Not perform it, not delegate it, fill it with your body, with your hands, with your attention. It nearly kills him before the pool cues do. That's the quiet thesis of the whole episode.
I miss you.
I don't want to know you.
The hardest part of going straight isn't the morality, it's the boredom. And here's the part most people miss. Vito isn't an anomaly. He's not the lazy one, the soft one, the exception. The Sopranos puts almost every major character through some version of this exact scene, and they all fail it. Every single one.
I got a fucking rash now this week or two. Leave me alone.
Tony tries to go semi-legitimate after dodging a murder charge. Episode is called House Arrest. He shows up to his own waste management office, sits behind a desk, and within days he develops a stress rash on his arm that he can't stop scratching. His body literally tries to evict him from the building. The boredom comes out through his skin. Christopher, in one of the most underrated scenes in the show,
Look at this fucking place. You imagine spending day after day in here, year after year?
is in the aftermath of a robbery with two other guys, looking around at the office they've just hit, and he says out loud, "Imagine spending day after day in here, year after year." He's not talking about robbers. He's talking about people who go to work. Later, at a gas station, he watches a tired family pile out of a beat-up car with their possessions strapped to the roof. The unhappy wife, the screaming kids, and his face does something incredible. He's looking at his plan B, and he flinches.
And now it's only like 6 months more for my massage license.
Tony B, after 17 years in prison, tries to go straight as a licensed massage therapist. Partners with a Korean businessman who fronts him the storefront, works the laundry route during the day, renovates the parlor at night, studies for the licensing exam. He cracks within months, beats his partner with a steel pipe, and takes a contract hit for cash, running back into the life like it never let him out. And of course, the ghost hovering over all of this, Goodfellas. Henry Hill in witness protection at the very end. I have to wait around like everyone else. I get to live the rest of my life like a schnook. The same realization, the same horror. 16 years before Vito stared at that watch. The Sopranos isn't telling us a story about one fat capo who couldn't hack it. The Sopranos is telling us that everybody in this life, every single one of them, would rather die than punch a clock. And that this isn't a flaw of the mob. This is the thing the mob is actually offering. The product. The whole pitch. The pitch is, you will never have to know what a Tuesday morning at 9:55 actually feels like. So now we're back at the moment. Vito has hammered a few nails. He has looked at his watch. He has said, "Fuck me." And somewhere in the next 48 hours,
What are you doing?
Cooking.
he cooks Jim one last dinner, slips out the next morning while Jim is still sleeping, and drives south toward a man he knows is going to murder him on Phil Leotardo's orders. Most people read that as cowardice, or self-loathing, or a closeted man running from his own happiness. And those readings aren't wrong, they're just incomplete, because the deeper, harder reading is this. Vito understood, in his body, on that farm, that the version of life Jim was offering him, diner, motorcycle, sandwiches, love, required him to become a different kind of animal. An animal that fills hours instead of bending them. An animal that is owed nothing and earns everything. An animal whose Tuesday morning has 900 minutes in it, and each one has to be paid for. He couldn't do it. Not the gay part, not the New Hampshire part, not the leaving his kids part, the Tuesday morning part. That's what's so devastating about this episode, and that's why Chase puts the internal monologue exactly where he puts it. Not before the murders, not before the betrayals, before the decision. Vito chooses death the moment he hears his own thoughts on a farm in New Hampshire, because his own thoughts terrify him more than Phil Leotardo ever could. The state motto of New Hampshire is live free or die. Vito read the motto. He picked the second one. The Sopranos is a show about a lot of things. Therapy, family, the American dream rotting in real time. But under all of it, there's this one quiet thesis it returns to again and again, and the Vito episodes are where it shows its hand. The mob isn't selling crime, it's selling time, their time. Bent, slowed, owned, theirs. And the second the bill comes due, the second the world hands them back a normal Tuesday and says, "Here, fill this," They break. Every one of them. They die, they overdose, they relapse, they go back, they get in the car. Vito just got there first. And honestly, on a long enough Tuesday, most of us understand him. So I want to know, what's your 9:55 moment? The job, the meeting, the shift where the clock stopped moving and you had your own little Vito moment watching the watch. Drop the time and the place in the comments.